Okay, so here's a game I played, let's see. Well, it's at the end of April, so it's probably 2 weeks ago, I guess, 2 weekends ago. A little more than 2 weeks ago. So this was the first round. I was playing with black. It was my choice of colors to start with, and since I was playing a lower rated player in the beginning here, I thought, maybe it would be best to try playing with the black piece against a lower rated opponent. Uh, yeah, and so he wasn't much lower rated, but um, he was a new guy who I hadn't played before, and I just felt he'd be less experienced, so I didn't mind taking on the black pieces here. So let's just go ahead and start the game. He played c4. I don't really face this very much as black, but what I normally try to do is play a kind of reserved, um, kind of Sicilian setup as black, like as if I'm playing a Sicilian on the black side. So I play e5, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it closed. I'm not planning on playing d5, but I'm just going to plan on just developing my pieces normally and trying to get some sort of equal sort of position. That's all. I don't want to go into theory or anything like that. You know, I can play a lot of different ways. G3, knight f6, bishop g2, and I could play d5 now and go into something that would be similar to a reverse Sicilian, but I'm just going to play bishop c5 and just develop. And now I think my opponent plays a mistake with knight f3. It's just because I can play e5 right away and there's not really a good square for the knight. I think it might actually be forced to go back to g1 after this move, after I play e5. I don't know if it can go to h4. Maybe it can go to h4. I'm not completely sure on that. Maybe it can go to h4 here. But anyway, it's just not it's not very comfortable for white to go into this sort of position, I don't think. Because after the normal looking knight g4, I just have this, and it just ruins white's king. And I may even be able to get something better than what happened in the game. Of course, if the king takes, I can play knight to g4. If the king takes the bishop, I would play knight to g4 check and pick up the knight with equal material, and the king is just really ugly for white, and it'll take a couple of moves for him to get like he can't even do the normal sort of castle by hand thing because the rook is going to be blocked in after the check and the king moves back to the back rank. It's going to be hard for him to develop that rook. So white actually chose not to take it, and I think this is probably as good as taking. I don't really know for sure. And I played back with the bishop. I don't know. I probably had other options there too, like maybe I can just leave it. Again, if the king ever takes the bishop, I can have that check and pick up the knight. So maybe I can just castle or do something like that. But if I did castle, white could probably just play bishop takes e4 or something, and I'd have to probably worry about my bishop later on, like, or maybe he could play knight takes, and then the threat would be off. Yeah, so maybe bishop c5 isn't best, but it looks okay at least. Knight takes e4, so white's getting the pawn back. I check. And let's see. Bishop blocks. Yeah, I guess that's best here because he doesn't want to allow queen f2 check. and I played queen d4 threatening queen f2 mate, and also threatening the c4 pawn. I think it's okay to take this pawn because white is a little bit behind in development, and it's okay to just pick up the material. Yeah, so white played e3, and now I was expecting d3, but I think maybe king g2 is better because white would be able to kind of develop, though I did give him some problems with development. I tried to make it as hard as possible to get the rook out. He could probably play the rook out right now. What happened in the game was he played b3, and so now I'm going to play here and threaten to kind of make his king uncomfortable with that check, try to make his development a little bit hard to complete. Yeah, so I checked king f2, and I was actually thinking about this move here for a while because I was thinking of maybe playing something like h5, even though my pawn would be loose on g7. I was thinking it might be a good idea to just go after his king right away, and it's probably okay to do that, but I was a bit worried. Like, I was thinking, my position is kind of comfortable and I don't really need to, let's say, take too many risks here. So I just castled, and I'm just going to try to develop and hopefully take advantage of his weakened king. Yeah, so knight c3, knight c6, knight d5. Yeah, so he's attacking the c7 pawn, and again, I was thinking about sacrificing it, but I just drop back the bishop, and if he wants to take it, that's alright with me. He played knight f4, and I'm kind of getting a little bit uncomfortable here because he's going to have some stuff here, and maybe white can improve and get a bit of an advantage here. I don't really know. I didn't feel like I was any worse here. Queen h6, knight h5, so there's a little bit of a threat on there. On g7, and the knight interposes. Bishop e2, queen g6. So what am I threatening here? The check, I guess. The check. Yeah, I guess I'm just looking at taking control of some of the light squares there, including d3. So I could be looking to trade off a piece here. If he gives up his bishop for my knight, my light squared bishop should be strong on those weak squares. Yeah, so he plays h3, I play bishop f5, getting more control of those squares. Queen h6, king g2. Yeah, king g2 is a mistake because I have this check to win the exchange. What else can he do here? Probably anything, would be better. Even maybe g4. Yeah, like anything aside from king g2, let's say, because it just loses the exchange. Takes, queen takes, c6, rook f1, f5. Yeah, I'm playing through this a bit quickly because I don't think white has much of a game here. Yeah, let's see. Maybe he can play. Yeah, it's hard from here, I think, with white. Knight d3 takes. Yeah, and I mean, it's looking pretty bad here for white. Let's just look. I mean, he's down 2 pawns at an exchange. But, the bishops could be a bit strong. I just think, with the 2 active rooks, I think I should be able to come up with something here. Yeah, and this looks pretty strong too. Kind of crashing through here. But, there could be improvements here because my king is a bit, it's not really great there, with those open diagonals. So there could be something that white missed here. And if there is, you can certainly comment. Yeah, so there's no real threat here to win the rook. I can just bring the pawn in front. And yeah, there's still no threat here. Maybe a better try would be, could he even play d4, something like that here? Maybe not. Yeah, there's no point. He'd be losing the e pawn then in that case. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't see much here for white. Bishop check. Could he play like bishop b2 here? Bishop b2. I would have my own bishop check then. So if he plays bishop b2, I would play bishop c7. And he'd need to get out of that check, and I would have something, either queen takes h3 when the king was on h1, or if the king went to g1, what would I have? Okay, so I'm just looking at, I don't have, well, if I did analyze the board right now, I wouldn't be able to see the next move, so I'm just trying to look at it and try to figure things out. And it's probably a good thing to be able to do this, even though we're looking at a video and we can't analyze direct variations. If you're playing a chess game, you can't just pick up the pieces and analyze. So it's good to look at variations in your head, kind of. It's better for calculating too. So I'm looking at the variations, starting with bishop b2, attacking g7. So how would black respond there? Bishop c7 check seems natural. I don't know, maybe bishop b2 would be a good option here. Maybe bishop b2. Well, I'll check it on a computer anyway. Maybe it's good for white. Maybe bishop b2 is alright. I think black probably has something though, in that case, in this line. But you never know, like maybe this is alright for white. Okay, but that's probably all I'll look at for now. This is what happened. Let's just see. Okay, to the very end. Yeah, so white captured the pawn. I don't think this is a great move. I played check, and he actually resigned here. I wouldn't have resigned if I was him. I would have played king g1 and played from there. I guess I would have the queen check, and there would be more checks, but even with all that, he has some threats, of his own, and there's no hurt in playing, even if you don't like your position so much. Maybe in this position, maybe it's okay to resign, I guess. But yeah, I think I would have played on a couple more moves, because in the past I've been burned pretty bad thinking, okay, there's definitely a win here for my opponent, I'll just resign. but it's good. It's good to play it out a little bit more and kind of force your opponent to find the win. Yeah. So okay, that's probably all I'll look at for now. Again, I think bishop b2 might have been a good try for white instead of taking back that pawn, and I'd like to look at it with the computer, and I will pretty shortly here. Okay, bye.